What also sets Sheridan apart is how he directs, not from a trailer or a monitor but often on horseback, riding alongside actors and crew. He's been known to direct scenes while in the saddle, literally part of the world he's capturing. On screen, he hires real ranchers to work as extras. He casts actual cowboys in key roles. Even the background of his shows feels authentic because it is authentic. Unlike many Hollywood creators, Sheridan doesn't live in LA. He doesn't care about celebrity parties or film festivals. He lives in Texas. He works from his ranch. And when he needs inspiration, he steps outside. The land, the animals, the silence, that's his writing room. He's also fiercely protective of his vision. On Yellowstone, he's not just the writer, he's the showrunner, director, and often the producer. That kind of control is rare in television. But Sheridan believes in a simple rule. If you're going to tell a story, own it. He doesn't compromise for the sake of corporate comfort. That's why his shows feel personal. Every word, every frame has his fingerprint, and he doesn't slow down. After Yellowstone exploded in popularity, Sheridan didn't coast. He expanded the world with spin-offs like 1883 and 1923, each with its own unique tone and time period. He brought in A-list talent like Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren, and Sam Elliott, not with big studio dollars, but with scripts that spoke to them. Even as Hollywood chases fast content and short attention spans, Sheridan sticks to long-form storytelling. He lets moments breathe. He gives characters time to grow. It's not fast food, it's a slow-cooked meal. And viewers can tell the difference. Perhaps the most shocking part of his journey is this. Taylor Sheridan doesn't play the fame game. He rarely does interviews. He avoids social media. He doesn't crave the spotlight. His goal isn't to be known, it's to create something lasting. And in an industry built on trends and image, that mindset makes him a true maverick. Taylor Sheridan didn't just change Western television. He changed how Hollywood sees creative control, authenticity, and risk-taking. And all of it started because one man decided he didn't want to follow the rules. He wanted to write his own. For someone at the center of one of the biggest TV franchises in the world, Taylor Sheridan lives a life that's almost shockingly private. In a time when celebrities post their breakfast, gym routines, and every family vacation, Sheridan has taken the opposite path. He stays quiet. He stays grounded, and he keeps his personal world tightly sealed. But those close to him know, behind the camera, Sheridan is guided by a strong personal code, one built on loyalty, grit, and a deep respect for real life. He's married to Nicole Muirbrook Sheridan, a former model and actress, and together they've built a life that's far from Hollywood. They live on their Texas ranch, where their son is being raised with the same values Sheridan holds dear: hard work, independence, and humility. While some directors use their fame to climb higher into the Hollywood system, Sheridan has used his success to do the opposite, to disappear into a quieter, more meaningful life. He's not interested in fame for fame's sake. He rarely walks red carpets unless he absolutely has to. He turns down most interview requests. And while he could live in Beverly Hills or Manhattan, he chooses to live among horses, cattle, and open fields. For him, success isn't about status. It's about freedom, the freedom to write his way, to film his way, and most importantly, to live life on his own terms. People who've worked with Sheridan often describe him as intense but fair. He expects excellence because he gives it himself. On set, he leads with quiet confidence. No yelling, no drama, just focus. And off-set, he's fiercely loyal to his team. Many of the people he hires both in front of and behind the camera are folks he's worked with for years. Some are even veterans, ranchers, or people with no traditional film background at all. Sheridan doesn't care about resume, cares about character. That value system bleeds into his writing, too. Whether it's John Dutton on Yellowstone, or James and Margaret in 1883, Sheridan's characters live by an unspoken code. They're not perfect, they're not always good, but they believe in something bigger than themselves. Honor, family, land, survival, these aren't just themes in his shows, they're reflections of the way Sheridan views the world. One reason his storytelling feels so real is because it comes from a place of truth. Taylor Sheridan isn't guessing what it feels like to lose land or protect your family. He's lived through financial struggles. He's seen the hardships of rural life. He understands sacrifice, and he knows what it means to earn every inch of success. Before he made it big, he was broke, living in a small apartment, writing scripts, on borrowed time. There were no shortcuts, only belief, grit, and the willingness to bet on himself. And even now, with wealth and acclaim, he hasn't forgotten those roots. He puts his money back into his land. He supports Western heritage groups and land conservation efforts in Texas. He's known to advocate for the protection of rancher culture and open landscapes, fighting the very real pressures of development and urban sprawl. For Sheridan, this isn't nostalgia, it's a mission. What's more, he's raising awareness through action. Many of the crew members on his productions are hired locally. He keeps jobs in the communities where he films. His success is creating real opportunities, not just for actors, but for everyday people with real skills. And again, he doesn't broadcast that. He just does the work and lets the impact speak. Despite the fame, the pressure, and the demands of a massive TV franchise, Taylor Sheridan remains the same man at his core, the kind who'd rather be out riding fences than sitting in a meeting. The kind who believes in telling stories that mean something, not just ones that entertain. The kind who shows us that you can be powerful without being loud, and respected without seeking attention. His silence is part of what makes him so compelling. In a world addicted to speed and noise, Sheridan reminds us that the best stories come from stillness, from watching, listening, and living fully. And maybe that's his greatest secret of all, that by turning away from the spotlight, he's built something that will last far longer than a flash of fame. He's not just changing television, he's changing what it means to lead. And he's doing it the only way he knows how, his way. So what's next for a man like Taylor Sheridan, a cowboy, creator, and rebel who's already reshaped television from the back of a horse? Well, the truth is, no one knows for sure. And that's exactly how Sheridan likes it. Even as Yellowstone prepares for its final chapter, Sheridan isn't slowing down. He's expanding his universe, not shrinking it. Spin-offs like 1883, 1923, and the upcoming 2024 prequel continue to build a deeper, richer world around the Dutton legacy. Each series is treated not as a simple cash grab, but as a meaningful piece of a larger story crafted with care, detail, and heart. He's also developing other shows for the Paramount Plus platform that move far beyond the Dutton family. Titles like Mayor of Kingstown, Tulsa King, and Landman prove that Sheridan's storytelling isn't limited to the cowboy genre. It's rooted in characters who live on the edge of law, loyalty, and survival. And no matter the setting, his signature is always there. Real people, real stakes. No shortcuts. But there are whispers to rumors that Sheridan may one day step back from Hollywood altogether. That he might trade studio calls and production meetings for a quieter life, full-time, on the ranch. That his endgame isn't fame or fortune, but freedom. After all, he's already built the world he wants to live in. Imagine it, a man who's already changed the face of television. Walking away on his own terms, just as the sun sets over his ranch. No press conference. No big farewell. Just Taylor, his horses, and the open Texas sky. But then again, maybe that's just the myth we want to believe. Maybe Sheridan's not done at all. Maybe he's just getting started. What makes Taylor Sheridan so hard to pin down is also what makes him fascinating. He doesn't follow trends. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't ask permission. And that's exactly why audiences trust him. Because whether it's a gunfight on the plains or a quiet moment in a dusty barn, Sheridan's stories feel true. And in today's world, that kind of truth is rare. And maybe that's the secret. He doesn't write fiction to escape life, he writes to understand it. His shows aren't about heroes and villains. They're about people trying to survive, protect what they love, and make sense of a world that doesn't always play fair. That's not just good writing, that's real life. So whether he's behind a camera or behind a horse, Taylor Sheridan is doing what most people only dream of. Living with purpose, telling stories that matter, building something that lasts. And, through it all, one thing stays clear. Sheridan doesn't just write the cowboy life, he lives it, every day, every mile, every word. What do you think is next for Taylor Sheridan? Will he ride off into the sunset, or saddle up for a whole new frontier in storytelling? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Taylor Sheridan's world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more behind-the-scenes stories about the people shaping modern entertainment and off the screen. Until next time, Keep riding forward and, never, stop chasing the story. He writes about cowboys, gunfights, and rugged ranch life. But what if we told you Taylor Sheridan isn't just making it up? While Hollywood scripts are being typed in coffee shops and studios, Sheridan is out there on horseback, under real, Texas skies, living the life most actors only pretend to play. Taylor Sheridan might be best known as the brain behind Yellowstone, the gritty, high-stakes TV drama about power, land, and loyalty in the modern West. But while most people see him as just a writer or director, Sheridan is something more rare. He's a real cowboy. Not the kind you see in polished boots on a movie set, but the kind who wakes up at dawn, saddles his horse, and works a real ranch with real cattle. Outside of Hollywood, Sheridan lives on a massive piece of land in Weatherford, Texas, a ranch called Bosque Ranch, spread across hundreds of acres. This isn't just a pretty backdrop for Instagram photos. It's a working ranch. Sheridan owns it, runs it, and rides on it. The man who writes cowboy stories is, in fact, writing from experience. Every sunrise on that land, every dust cloud, kicked up by hooves, and every fence he's helped build becomes a detail he pulls into his stories. That's why Yellowstone and its spin-offs feel so real. They're coming from someone who knows how it smells after a summer rain hits dry dirt. On this ranch, Taylor doesn't just ride horses, he breeds them, but not just any horses. He specializes in cutting horses, which are trained to work with cattle. It's a high-level sport in the rodeo world, and it takes years of skill and instinct to train these animals. Sheridan himself competes in events, and has earned respect in the cutting horse community. This is a man who writes award-winning scripts and then saddles up to ride alongside professional ranchers, not because he has to but because it's his way of life. Most people in Hollywood spend their downtime attending red carpets or flying to tropical islands. Sheridan, he's at home in jeans and a weathered hat, often covered in dust, checking fences or working with his animals. It's no surprise that many of the ranch scenes in Yellowstone are filmed right on his own land. He's created a bridge between two worlds, one of fiction and one of reality. And sometimes, they overlap so much, it's hard to tell which is which. Even more interesting is how Sheridan uses his real ranch as part of his business. Bosque Ranch isn't just his home, it's also a production location, training ground, and horse event venue. Big scenes from his shows have been filmed there, and the land has hosted major cutting horse events. Some of the riders you see in his shows aren't actors, they're real-life cowboys from the competitions he hosts. This commitment to authenticity is what sets him apart. Where other directors might hire stunt doubles or shoot on fake sets, Sheridan brings the camera straight to the real thing. But none of this is for show. In interviews, he rarely talks about his ranch unless he's asked. He doesn't brag or post about it online. Instead, he keeps his head down, works hard, and lets the results speak for themselves. His ranch isn't a prop, it's his real life. And that life, rich with dirt, sweat, and saddle leather, shapes every scene he writes. When viewers watch Yellowstone and think, wow, this feels real, it's because it is. Sheridan lives the life he writes about. He doesn't just imagine the grit, the silence of the plains, or the bond between man and horse. He lives it every single day. And that, more than any Hollywood trick, is his secret weapon. While Taylor Sheridan might look like a humble rancher riding through the Texas hills, make no mistake, he's also building a quiet empire. And it's not in Hollywood. It's on horseback. His ranch, Bosque Ranch, isn't just a place for family life or creative escape. It's a full-blown business operation with layers most people never see. On the surface, it's a peaceful stretch of Texas land filled with horses, cattle, and open sky. But behind that simple image is a complex web of revenue streams that Sheridan has smartly created. All while staying true to the cowboy code. One of the biggest parts of his business, horse competitions. Sheridan is deeply invested in the world of cutting horses, a high-stakes sport where horses are trained to separate or cut a single cow from the herd. It requires sharp instincts, perfect timing, and total trust between horse and rider. Sheridan doesn't just breed and train these horses, he competes with them. He's even invested in million-dollar horse events, where prize money and prestige draw elite competitors from around the country. Sheridan has helped turn Bosque Ranch into a destination for these events. It hosts major competitions that bring in riders, trainers, sponsors, and spectators from across the U.S. With each event, He pulls in revenue from entry fees, sponsorships, food vendors, and more. But more than the money, it cements his role as a serious figure in the cutting horse world. He's not just playing cowboy, he's part of the elite in the industry. And then, there's Hollywood. Sheridan found a way to make his real-life ranch serve double duty as a set for his shows. When you see wide, dusty roads and golden fields in Yellowstone or 1883, there's a good chance you're looking at his actual land. That's right, he's filming on his own property, avoiding expensive studio lots, and using nature's backdrop to bring authenticity to the screen. Not only does that save production costs, it gives his shows that raw, untouched beauty that audiences love. Sheridan also rents out his land and facilities for brand shoots and production partnerships. Outdoor brands, Western apparel companies, and even high-end lifestyle marketers have used Bosque Ranch for their campaigns. In doing so, Sheridan turns his land into passive income without compromising the ranch's identity. But he's not stopping there. Sheridan is now branching into cowboy-themed retail. In 2022, Bosque Ranch launched a line of branded goods shirts, hats, gear that reflect his rugged Western lifestyle. Fans of Yellowstone and horse lovers alike can now wear a piece of the ranch, turning lifestyle into merchandise. It's subtle, smart branding. He doesn't plaster his face on the products, but the Sheridan name speaks for itself. Quiet, strong, respected just like his shows. And perhaps the most impressive part of his empire is how naturally it all fits together. His shows feed into the lifestyle. The lifestyle fuels his ranch. The ranch becomes a filming location. The location hosts events that attract more attention, which brings in fans and merchandise sales. It's a circle of storytelling and strategy, all centered around a man doing what he loves. He's not just building stories, he's building a brand. But unlike most Hollywood brands, Sheridan's doesn't rely on social media posts or red carpet events. It relies on hard work, deep roots, and authenticity. He didn't start out trying to make money. He just wanted to tell stories that mattered. But because they came from a real place, they connected with people. And that connection turned into a powerful business. What makes it even more interesting is that Sheridan doesn't act like a businessman. You won't see him in suits or boardrooms. He's more likely to be found in a dusty barn or out in the pasture, working with his hands. But behind that weathered hat and rancher's smile is a man who understands how to turn passion into profit without ever selling out. Taylor Sheridan has created something rare in today's world, a business built on real life, not image. His success isn't just in the TV ratings, it's in the way he's quietly reshaping how Western culture is seen, shared, and sold. And the best part? He's just getting started. In Hollywood, most writers follow a script both literally and in their careers. You work your way up in a writer's room, take notes from executives, and learn to play the studio game. But Taylor Sheridan has never followed that path. He broke every rule. And somehow, he's become one of the most powerful creators in television today. Let's rewind for a moment. Before the fame, before Yellowstone, Sheridan was an actor. You might have seen him in shows like Sons of Anarchy or Veronica Mars. But behind the scenes, he was frustrated. He wanted deeper stories, real characters, and most of all, creative control. So in his 40s age, when most people are already locked into a career, Sheridan made a bold move. He quit acting and started writing. No backup plan, just a voice in his head telling him there was something more. His first major script, Sicario, was a hard-hitting crime thriller, gritty, tense, and real. It was picked up by major director Denis Villeneuve and became a critical hit. That success led to Hell or High Water, another Sheridan-penned film that earned an Oscar nomination. Suddenly, Hollywood was listening. But instead of fitting into their mold, Sheridan started breaking it. He refused to work in writers' rooms. He insisted on writing his scripts, alone a rarity in the TV world. And not just 1 or 2 episodes. Sheridan writes entire seasons by himself, sometimes in just a matter of weeks. He doesn't wait for studio notes or committee input. He trusts his instincts, and the audience clearly trusts them too. When Yellowstone launched in 2018, many critics ignored it. It wasn't a flashy superhero show or a big-name franchise. But something strange happened. Week after week, millions of people tuned in. By Season 4, it had become the most watched show on cable television. No big ad campaigns. No overthought promotions. Just good, Old-fashioned storytelling.